Hello and welcome. And I think we can hear me. Oh, yeah, that's great. Hello E and hello M. And a very heartfelt welcome to the stream. It has been quite a while since we met in this English writing live stream. I think it might have been not quite 2 months, but definitely more than 1 month. So quite a while. So I had a lot of time. So what do you think? On a scale from 1, or let's say on a scale from 0 to 10, how well prepared I am for today's stream? Where 0 would be no preparation at all. I hardly remember the story and what it's about. And with some difficulty, I'm able to recall your names. And 10 is kind of, I already have the whole story planned out, not just for today, but everything. Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, you're right, it's the 0. Welcome to the professional event that is the English writing live stream. And for everyone who might be new to this, 5, Epiphany grants me a 5. That's too kind of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. You overestimate me, as you sometimes do, but I feel very flattered by that, so it's not a real problem. So this here, hi Gekrimmel, this here is our story, or rather the beginning of our story. It's not that much I remember. It's not the point we left at last time, and I think the point we left at last time was a bit of a difficult one. So I think we might need to find out what's going on there, and I don't even only mean that in the sense of find out what happened, but more importantly, what is going to happen today. And I think we left at a point where we said, let's all take a few weeks to think about that and think of something that can happen now. And I think the choice we had to make was, here we go. Right, yeah. Ruth Gabler, the manager of the thing, is asking our heroes to leave, and now they have to convince her. And yeah, we were thinking about how to do that. But first off, to everyone who might be new or just having a little look-see to see if this little writing stream appears to them, this is how it works. This is our story. Yeah, right, I already said that, I know, but this time it's really the part where we will enter today. It's also linked in the description below. I think I need to refresh the file that's there, but since nobody ever complains, and I suspect nobody ever reads it, that's not a high priority for me right now, so sorry about that. And there's also, which is probably more important to you, a link to the chat in the video description below. You can click that link and enter our Discord server. And there is a chat. It's called English Livestream, quite uncreatively, and it is filled with people who want to influence this live stream, either by telling me that the lighting is bad or the sound is very good or that I look fantastic again, or maybe by asking questions or making suggestions about the way this story goes. Somebody asked me yesterday if this is like a video call, and I can hopefully what do you call that? Calm you down, give you peace, or give you good news about that. It's not that there's only video. Oh, Epiphany says my hair looks great. I love you. I love you all. You're such a great audience. Thank you. I'll see that the next writing stream happens with a little bit less of a pause in between. So where did I leave at? Right. There's the chat. Yeah, right. To influence the story, and you can, of course, yeah, right. Video is only for me. You're in the chat, and of course, if there ever is a participant who feels like that's not good for them because they don't like or can't use Discord or something else, we can talk about that. I'm open to having other people in video even. I'm open to have you in a voice call. We can use all social media platforms and messages that you prefer. I'm open to new ways of doing things, and that's kind of what our story is about, because that's the next part. I will quickly talk about. Our story is mostly, it's called The First Magi, and it's about a group of beings who apparently have some sort of magical power and want to make our world better, which is, I guess, in principle, desperately needed. So if you, by any chance, happen to have some sort of magical power, please use it to make our world better. And you might have noticed that both times there I didn't go into any detail, and that's the problem in our story too, because those people don't know a lot about our world. For that, we have, apart from people like Ruth Gabler, who are more like the opposition, in a way, we don't have real villains so far, and I think it's going to stay that way. Or maybe we do have them, and they're our protagonists. It's possible. But there's also there's Munira. Munira was to be deported by German police. When one of the Magi stepped in and stopped that and helped Munira, and now she is kind of their apprentice. Sam is the name of the Magus. I guess we never. I'm not quite sure if we ever cleared up if they're called Magus, Magi in singular too. We might. I'm really not sure. But anyway, Sam is kind of the tour guide for no, right, other way around. Munira is kind of the tour guide for Sam, while Sam might be teaching her about magic in some way. And right now, the first thing that was quite easy. I mean, if you're witnessing a deportation, and if it's within your power, which it usually won't be, but if it is, there's an obvious way to make the world better. You stop that. But if you see, as in this case, a nursing facility where old and sick and whoever needs it is in need of nursing is being, that's at least the idea, helped and cared for by the people who work there. But there is, for one thing, too little capacity to actually do it well because they are not paid well enough, or the company that keeps it going doesn't want to pay enough for enough workforce to actually do good healthcare. Whatever you see, that's where it gets difficult. It's not quite so easy to just know who you have to knock out to solve that problem, because you actually have to solve not just an acute right here problem, but a systemic one. And of course, in the end, that's where you end up with everything, with the deportation too, because if you stop one, there will always be more cops coming. That's not good. So the kind of crux of our story might be that it's quite easy, if you're as powerful as the first Magi are, to change something in the right here and right now, to just stop people from doing something or force them to do something right now. But the instant you turn your back on them and walk away, they are going to continue more or less as before, because they want to, because they have to, because they think they have to, because they don't know any other way, because others will force them, all of that in some balance. And you have to actually find ways to change the structure, the system. I know I'm kind of the reply guy here, explaining stuff to you you already know. I'm trying to get a feeling for the story for I know imaginary people who might be listening in for the first time. And also, this is always less to explain stuff to the experienced participants, but more like letting you in on my frame of mind right now, and giving you the opportunity to, for example, say, no, wait, I see that differently. I think we can go another way. I think it would be better to, or I have another perspective, or maybe I have a brilliant solution to all of that, and we should do it that way. Here is my essay, or the one sentence that solves it all. If you have it, please share it. The world needs you right now. But I have been talking about the here and now, so you might be wondering about that. If your memory is as good as mine, it might be helpful to you to have me read a bit of what happened before. So we have Lara Kaczmierz and the before mentioned Ruth Gabler, who are both figures of authority in this care facility. I think Ruth Gabler is the actual manager, and Lara Kaczmierz is the manager in charge of nursing care, which are two formally different and kind of equal positions, by idea at least, in German care facilities. There's this kind of legal requirement that you need to have both, and one is more concerned with the administrative stuff, and one is more concerned with the actual medical care part of what they do. Yeah. And here you see Ruth Gabler, I think that might have been, yeah, right. Comes out of the elevator, asks what's going on, notices them, and then I'm just going to read the dialogue up till then, and then that's what I was trying to unhelpfully speak around before. We need a way for Sam to demonstrate that they are to be taken seriously, a way to get them to, I guess, a meeting with Lara Kaczmierz and Ruth Gabler and make them change stuff, because that's what they want right now. Or, of course, that's always a possibility that one has to keep in mind, and it's both wonderful and terrible. If you're writing a story, you can always go with what you feel right now and with the obvious choices, but you can always go completely different way. Like, for example, we can in this part of the story decide to not have that. Maybe they don't convince Ruth Gabler and Lara Kaczmierz, and they are forced to just leave. They give up and they do something else. I'm not sure. I don't have an idea right now for how to progress the story from there, but of course it can be done. So it's up to us. And that's, you might already guess what I meant by that being both terrible and wonderful at the same time. We can choose that, and we can take our story to unexpected places. And sometimes we should do that. We should do that sometimes. You might know that from other fictional stories you consume, like if you watch TV, movies, or series, or if you read fictional books or something like that. You might already be familiar with the experience when writers do that in a bad way, or they do it too often, or they do it too little. The story gets worse for it. Because if you always know what happens next, there are no surprises, and it's less interesting. And if you never know what happens next, then the story feels unreal. You lose your relationship with it. Like if you have a friend that always lies to you, you probably will stop caring about them at some point, because there's just no way to have a relationship with something that doesn't really communicate with you, and that is what it feels in a story that always does the unexpected thing. So I know I'm really simplifying stuff here. I'm of course, about each of those topics, libraries have been written, and it's much more complicated than I make it out to be. But then again, we only have 1 hour, and we don't only want to hear me teach you about everything I know about storytelling. Me, the experienced writer who has published a book that has been read by like 8 people probably already by now. So yeah, we also want to get some writing done. So I'll have to keep it short and simple. Epiphany says maybe education could play a role in reprogramming Ruth and Lara. Yeah, that's kind of a thing. But also we already, or maybe I'm not quite sure how vocal your agreement was. Maybe you just stayed quiet, and I assume that is agreement. I know I talked about this. Well, the problem that we have here really manifesting in our story, so that at some point Sam will turn to Munira. I'm bad with names, sorry, even the ones I made up. Turn to Munira and say something like, you know, this is really difficult. I don't know what to do here, because I can, of course, force them to do this and that, and I can. We will. I think we will have a talk about that. And for now, let me read the dialogue, and then we get to our next choice, and then we will see where it goes from there. But yeah, of course, this is going to be educational for everyone involved, if possible. All right. I say call Tomke is what Ruth Gabler says, who is obviously some kind of security person. Is that some sort of clinic clown, or maybe a mediator? Munira asked just because the idea sprang into her head and felt a bit funny. I'm not even sure. I think it is funnier if we leave out the mediator. Here we go. She refused to feel bad about associating this just with the name because she was quite sure Tomke. Here we go. I misspelled the name. Tomke was actually a security guard and thus deserving of any ridicule she could muster. They had security guards at her school and everybody hated them. Sam said, I don't think Tomke will be helpful in resolving this. Also, he just sat down, opened his lunchbox, and is very much looking forward to his Yonder Kisha. His what now? Oh, don't encourage them. Munira groaned. It's coffee, Sam explained with a wounded look in her direction. And I say, let Tomke enjoy the subtle aromas of marzipan and peach. Here we go, Munira mumbled, but nobody was paying attention to her anyway. Then leave, Lara Kachmirsh said. Problem solved, everyone happy, and you can get your own coffee with whatever subtle aromas you might. Something went wrong there, apparently. You might desire. Let's just go with that. And for now, barked Ruth Gabler, pointing at the door. And here things are coming to a, what do you call that? Coming to a point, there's a saying for that, isn't there? Things are coming to a moment of decision. Yeah, that's where we left off last time. So, how will, or let's just have a little vote on it, because I like those votes. Yeah. Thanks, Epiphany. Epiphany proposes head and precipice. I think you're right. Yeah, things are coming to a head or to a precipice. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, and they are. So let's resolve that. And first off, by me typing poll into the chat and then saying will Sam and Munira. It's not quite clear how much she wants to be helpful because she's not quite sure who is worse in this situation. And Munira find a way to make Ruth and Lara actually listen. So, and now you might remember we vote by emoji. And in this case, I'm going to make it very easy because this is a yes or no question. And it works with a thumbs up and with a thumbs down. And it's yes or no. Here you go. It is now in the chat, and I will add the emojis for you to click on. Yes, thumbs up. No, thumbs down. And you can tell me which way you want our story to go. Yeah, and of course, if you vote yes, the next question will be how. Hoping that this won't influence your voting behavior. Of course, it's always, wait, let me add the shrugging emoji, because there is always the possibility of just saying, I don't know, or I don't care, or I have no idea. And I should offer that to you. Let me use the person shrugging emoji. Here we go. This is supposed to be neutral, obviously, because there's a man shrugging, there's a woman shrugging, and there's a person shrugging emoji. Ah, yes, the three genders. All right. Here we go. We have a majority for yes. So, yeah, you brought this on yourself. Let's see how it goes. Hashtag poll. How will they do it? And I will do it like, you know those pesky video games where you are offered choices for a dialogue or for something, and the options you can click on, they are spelled out in a certain way that give you a direction, but you don't know what exactly will happen. It's like in for example, a video game like Telltale's The Walking Dead. where you, I don't know, have a discussion with someone, and then the game asks you, do you want to be confrontative? Do you want to be violent? Do you want to be conciliatory, or do you want to hug them or something? And then if you decide on, I don't know, confrontative or violent, you don't know if your character will just punch them, insult them, or pull out a knife and shiv them or something like that. So that's kind of how I want to do it here. I really want to shiv somebody right now, but there's no one here, so instead I will make this poll. How will they do that? The last time I already offered some options and none seemed quite perfect, but well, we'll see. Of course, another chance, there's not only the thumbs up, thumbs down, and the shrug. There's also the possibility of you just typing out your way the story wants to go. So if you think this is obvious, Sam will just offer them $1 million, and then they can go up into the office and talk for an hour. Sure, type that into the chat and we see what we think about that. So just one example. How will they do that? Let's see here. First emoji. Power of convincing arguments. Another option. Incredible violence. I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek here. Let's use the penguin for subtle demonstration of magical powers. What's the opposite of subtle? Unsubtle, not subtle. I'm just gonna go with unsubtle. Who cares? This is not part of our story, so wording doesn't matter that much. Demonstration of magical powers. And finally, not the same as incredible violence. Let's go with, I don't know here, direct force. So just to differentiate between that, while I click on the emoji for you to click on, in my idea, the incredible violence option is something that will be really, well, violent, in the sense of at least some things will get destroyed, maybe people will get hurt, maybe not. Of course, you can always still influence that. I was halfway joking about the thing with the video game comparison, because I will try something after your vote, but I will also, of course, listen to your comments, as I always do, because this is an interactive writing stream. And I always forget what is the next emoji. The cactus is the next one. Okay, that's it. So here we go. Whereas the direct force, directly forcing them, is without violence in the strictest sense. So of course there's violence, but it's not destructive. It's just, I don't know, teleporting them into their office where they're all sitting in chairs and maybe they're unable to stand up and they just have to listen. Dream of any mansplainer, I guess. So they will have to listen, but nobody will be hurt, and nothing will be damaged or destroyed. That's the difference I imagine about that. So far, I see one vote for the power of convincing arguments, which is inspirational in a way. But it feels difficult to me in actually the doing of it. And we also have one vote for a subtle demonstration of magical powers. That seems, let's say, more doable. Now, you might say, why would I listen to someone just because they pull they pull a rabbit from a hat? But well, ask David Copperfield. He got rich that way, and people were listening to him. Seems to work. And there are other magicians. I just don't know most of them here. How about those two? I kind of like them. The big one and the silent small one. What are they called? They're called. Oh, God damn it! I used to know those. Penn and Teller, right? Penn and Teller. They even were in West Wing. They burned an American flag. Epiphany, you might have liked that. Although I don't recommend West Wing. It has its moments, but it's still, let's say, well, it's West Wing. Yeah, right, Gekrimmel, thank you. Penn and Teller. There's a version of them in Borderlands 3. You probably didn't know that. They probably didn't know that. They are one of the bosses, or two of the bosses, I guess, in the video game Borderlands 3. And they are called something and terror, of course. But what's the first thing? What sounds like pen but is something bad? Pen, gun, and terror. No, that's too easy. That's not it. That doesn't matter. We have our majority for the power of convincing arguments. Well, you got me in a pickle now. Let me say that. I already said it, didn't I? Maybe I shouldn't have. But yeah, this is a difficult situation. So how will they do that? Power of convincing arguments. Yeah, thank you. So do you have any concrete pain? Yeah, right. Of course. Thank you, Gekrimmel. Yeah, you're right again. They were called Pain and Terror. That's right. Very good. Thank you. That's them. And I think the game uses their actual voices. Yeah, in the sense of Penn's voice, because Teller doesn't talk. Convincing arguments. I mean, would you say if we have now made a decision in favor of convincing arguments, is the $1 million thing out of the question? Is that still on the table? Because I feel that might be a pretty convincing argument. No, look, maybe since we did not let me say it like this. Of course, any way we do it will include some aspect of Sam's power. Because if one person without magical powers could just walk into a nursing home, force them or make them listen to them and make them improve their standards, what a wonderful world this would be. So we obviously will need some way of using Sam's special resources. The way will just not be doing a little demonstration right then and there in the lobby, but they will still use it. So maybe let's do it like this. Give me half an hour. No, that's not. Yeah, I'm struggling a bit. That's right, but that's normal. That's not a reason to worry. So don't do it. I just think maybe more like that. Look, sad Sam in Austin in a very calm and demonstratively reasonable manner. Why not? Just use the one probably shouldn't use them too often, but yeah, in this case, I'm gonna go with that. Whatever word wanted me to say. Open palms outstretched to demonstrate peaceful intentions. I think we started off. That's what you always say after doing that. Started off on the wrong foot. Maybe I think we need to. Sam went on. So like this. I think we need to mention how Ruth and Lara react, because they were kind of in the process of throwing them out. Munira was surprised to see that it even worked a bit, at least. Gabler and Kachmish. Oh, I'm not sure here like that. No. Did not shed all of their, what do you call that? And by the way, of course, English is not my first language, you might have noticed, but the looking for words thing, that's something that happens whenever I write a story. So that's similar even in German, because it's not just about finding a word that says what I want to do, but about trying to find words that convey the feeling, you know? And I'm not trying to pretend like I'm good at that, but that's what I'm trying. So of course you know that from thesaurus. Hostile, inimical, belligerent are synonyms, but they're not exactly the same. So what will we gonna use here? Maybe hostile. Maybe I think hostile is still the best we can find for their attitude. But they at least hesitated a bit, and Ruth Gabler's pointing hand, maybe like this rather, Ruth Gabler lowered her pointing hand by a few centimeters. Sam went on. And I can understand how you consider us, Munira and me. How do you feel about that? I read, once I checked that, because it felt weird to me how English writers usually will write in cases like this, Munira and I. And I checked up, and the sources I found confirmed that this is a technically wrong overcorrection for the thing like, I don't know, Munira and me are going into the club. In this case, Munira and I would be correct, because I am in the grammatical version where I'm not sure what it's called in English. In German, it's what I don't know what it's called in German either. See, no difference. It's not because I'm bad at English. I'm just bad at language in general. But in this case, if Munira wasn't there, you wouldn't say you consider I a disturbance. So that you will read in stories and English texts, in these cases, usually Munira and I, is an overcorrection that's technically, I think, still wrong. But then again, the way language works, of course, if enough people do it, then it becomes the correct way of doing it. And I think it's technically still wrong, and it feels bad to me, but I'm, as I said, not a person. Oh, Epiphany says that you are gifted at English. It is clear. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. So what I'm going for is I want to write Munira and I, and that feels better to me. Munira and me, because that feels better to me. But if you all think this should be Munira and I, otherwise it's just grating and unpleasant to read, I'm open to talking about that. This is up for discussion, I'm just saying. How you consider Munira and me a disturbance you need to get rid of. But I promise we are more of an opportunity. I have considerable. And there we go with the, whoop, what's happening? That's weird. How did that happen? I don't know. Word does weird things. Here we go. I have considerable resources at my disposal to help you do your job better. And I know, by the way, just so you know, I realize if I tried that, they would still throw me out. But Sam has already demonstrated some weird abilities. Sam is probably much more charismatic than I am. I mean, being probably tens of thousands of years old magical being that just incorporates as a simple person. Then again, Sam, of course, is dressed a bit unusually, which unfortunately in the society we live in makes people respect you less, usually, normal people. And I don't mean normal in a good way, just average people, the mainstream of society is what I mean to say. They will make fun of you and not take you seriously. I don't need to explain that, I know. I'm just trying to make my way of thinking transparent. And that means sometimes explaining stuff you know, but you might not know that I'm thinking them right now. That's what I'm trying to do. I hope that makes sense to you. And right now I'm explaining why I think this might work. And it's also because I can't think of anything better Sam can do right now with arguments. But as I said, it's up for discussion. Gekrimmel said, oh, this hypercorrection has always bothered me because it feels and is grammatically weird. So if M and me is allowed, I would absolutely take it. But then I'm not a native speaker with the same German grammar background. Yeah, right. As I said, I read up on that a few years ago and found articles that said it is a hypercorrection and it's technically wrong, but it's on the way to just get accepted because everyone does it. Well, yeah, and there you are. Help the people you're supposed to help. Maybe I realize it would have been more strategically clever to say, make your job easier for you, but I think it would have been less Sam. Because Sam is kind of a high and mighty, better than thou. And I want to keep that a bit. Maybe as a potential for character development during the story and a learning opportunity, and maybe just as their character. We'll have to see about that. Maybe Munira can even help. and maybe even make your job easier for you, Munira added, wondering why she even felt the need to help. Sam gave her a weird smile she couldn't quite interpret. Lara side. Did I already? I still have her in my thing here. Kashmir's side. What was that? Do you see that? You don't. That's good. No, you can't see my. What's it called? The thing where stuff goes that you copy in software. It's called Zwischenablage in German. You know, if I highlight text like this and then I copy it by pressing Control C or maybe using it from the context menu, and then it is stored in a thing that's called. Maybe I can even translate it. Zwischenablage. What's it called? Damn it! I know that, but I can't. Clipboard. It's called the clipboard, right? It's called the clipboard, I think. Yeah. Gekrimmelt, thank you. Very good. I needed the translation for that. And rolled her eyes. Woodgobbler took a breath and opened her mouth. Sam, yeah, looked up at the ceiling, gave a little, what do you call that? Not a sigh. I don't want to repeat sigh. It's more like a not quite a laugh, not quite a moan, groan. Maybe groan. Groan is good. Give a little groan. And returned their gaze on Gabler. I can help you with your money problems, they said dryly. Matter of factly, and a bit impatiently. I'm rich, and I want to help you, and I know your finances are tight, so give me half an hour to talk to you about how I can help you, or don't. I'm sure I'll find another company to talk to. Can we just throw them out already? And again, I forgot where the commas go. I think in English there are no commas right here, right? What do we use for that? how does she say it? We don't have enough words that describe how people say things. Epiphany confirms no commas for that one. Thank you. Bum, 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 bum. I would have maybe used a groan or a moan again, but we just did that. So just maybe this is one of the opportunities where it's best to go with the simple option, like said, asked, demanded, request, claim, call. Well, no. I think we have to go with sad. I have things to do and people waiting for me. But, here we go. Woodgabler look had changed. Only a bit, but Munira noticed it very much. There was now a real question on her face. Something like, maybe not. But she was not ready to admit it yet. Sure. Here, this is where the comma goes. She muttered with a sour smile, "Your rich angel investor just walking around Berlin, stumbling into a random care to give them money." And perform weird tricks in their lobby to impress them first. Makes perfect sense. It's not just money. Sam responded. Maybe I'll. She was still hostile, but Munira saw very clearly that her hand was now lowered all the way and resting at her side, and that she was actually waiting for an answer. As I said, we might work on that a bit later on when we go through the whole story again before actually finishing it or something like that. I don't think this would work if I were to try it, but maybe, as I said, maybe Sam is more charismatic than I am, or maybe Woodgabler is just in more financial difficulties than she's ready to admit even to her colleague, which is something I wanted to mention. And to her subtle, well, what's the word? Guilty, not quite. Wait, give me a maybe like this. And to Munira's, I'm gonna try this. Malicious enjoyment. She also saw very clearly that Lara Kachmir noticed it too and was all out annoyed by it. She put her hands on her hips and rolled her eyes again, this time not at Sam, but at her colleague. But she didn't say anything. I represent a group, a society. What's the word we want to use? Let's start with group. A cabal, a crowd, a faction, a unit, a troop, not a troop, a party, a band, a grouping, a set, a clique. An orchestra, an ensemble, an alliance, a gathering, an assemble. No, these are verbs already. How would they call themselves? Maybe the thing is, Sam might actually go with something like a cabal, but that would maybe remove the last chance for them to be heard without a demonstration of magical powers, and we decided against that. So arguments it is. Oh, maybe I'll start with that. That gives me more time to think of the other thing. And I do not subscribe to. I do not subscribe either to a belief in angelic beings, nor in a system of morals that would make them a reasonable concept. But I am offering you help. I represent, now here we go. Here we go. Again, the question, a group, a cabal, an organization. How about organization? Maybe it's not quite what we're looking for, but maybe it's close enough to find. Epiphany says, I could be just overthinking it, but maybe sadism would work well in place of malicious enjoyment. Yeah, well, maybe. Then again, I always think sadism, it's a bit, for one thing, it's a bit tied to the sexual preference and all that stuff. To me. So I think, but let's make a comment and we can think about it later. I'm just gonna add a comment that says other word, sadism, maybe. I'm not saying it's a bad word, and I don't like to use it, but I think mine, the malicious enjoyment thing, might be a bit of a better fit. But I'll admit there is a thumbs up for the proposal. So it's chill. Let me think about it. I made a note of it, and we will come back to that. I promise. If we ever get that far. It's what's it called? It's a very conditional promise, but it is. So it's still a promise, right? So I will do it if I get to it. But I'm offering you help. right, organization. So it's not a bad word. I just think it's a word I always use in these situations. So I might want to give it a bit of a rest this time. So maybe an association. How about that? Yeah, let's go with that. I represent an association that is interested in improving the lives of the sentence trailed off while Sam made a gesture into the air and cupped their chin with the other hand. Well, everyone, almost. They continued. But we have to start somewhere. And this is where I decided to start. So, how about giving me half an hour to convince you? And I think we shall leave it at that for today. And maybe, just maybe, we will all think about it until next time, and then have a great and very convincing way to finish this conversation and have the actual one. Maybe this has already gone on too long. I'm not sure. You can think about that too. It's always hard. It's hard because you all sometimes have to cut stuff from a story, and maybe this has been going on too long. Maybe we have to shorten this now or later. We will have to think about that, and we will also have to think about how this will finish. We can always just make I don't know, like a hard cut, like make a line break, and then in the next scene, Ruth Gabler is sitting across from them and just talking to them, and we leave it open. That's always a possibility. It might be kind of the coward's way out, but I'm not sure. Epiphany has offered a dictionary definition for sadism, which is the tendency to derive pleasure, especially sexual gratification, from inflicting pain, suffering, or humiliation in others. Beneath the apparent loving concern she had glimpsed, spite and sadism is an example. And I think that nice. No, I know. I know it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual, but it has that connotation. And that all I wanted to say. And that's a bit, as I said, that's part of the thing. I'm not just looking for the meaning of the word or a possible meaning. I'm looking at the connotations and the associations people might have when reading it, and I try to find one that brings across the feeling I want people to have for the scene. And sadism might not be perfect here, but I'm not saying it is not. I'm just not convinced yet. So I think I'll leave it open, leave the comment, and maybe change it later if that's all right by you. We can even make a poll, but maybe next time, because for today we are finished. And I shall think about how to finish this, and I shall also offer you a new writing live stream date much quicker than I did last time. And now is the time to say thank you for your attention, for your help in writing this story, for your participation, and for your nice comments today. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, however much there might be left. And see you next time. And also, like and subscribe. Bye. This is, you know what this is right now, right? I always say that. Yeah, this is that.